Excellent. We have a packed schedule for some reason in this April, which is good.
I know.
So then I just got done recording all 5 of our shows for the podcast, which we do on early Thursday, early for us anyway. And I'm a little talked out, but I'll contribute here.
Okay, so what was your favorite show that we just recorded today that's going to air next week? I know what mine is.
Mine was Jack Thursday, and it was about getting rich against the odds.
That was mine too, I have to tell you, because you surprised me with wherever you found that, those statistics on what people think. I kind of want to talk about that a little bit today too, in how it relates to land, by the way, because that's who we are. You brought up some really interesting statistics about not only the obvious, like education, like who becomes millionaires kind of thing. I look at this because a lot of us are in this, myself included, to have a nice life. I love real estate anyway, and it just works out great because that's the best way for me to afford to have a nice life kind of thing. So some of these statistics were interesting, like, who inherited it, who worked for it, who thinks this and who thinks that. Some of it just happens, right? Like you inherit money. That's great. It wasn't me, obviously. It wasn't you. We did it on our own. We're scrappy. But the mindset about getting there is so interesting to me too. So I hope you can share that with us in a few minutes. But first I want to say hello. Sure. Welcome everyone. I'm Jill DeWitt. I'm here with my partner, Stephen Jack Vitalo. We are Land Academy. We have been, you can read our little bios for more, but we've been, among all the other things we've done in our life and our careers, we've been buying and selling land now for, you for going on 3 decades, me for 13 years with you doing this. I got my feet wet a little bit, growing up in it, but you and I together for over a decade for sure. And we made Land Academy. And thank you, Banadesh. I'm going to bring you up on the stage. So this is going to be just a free flowing, fun kind of office hours chat conversation. So anything you want to talk about, we would love it. So awesome. Okay. I'm going to try it again. Banadesh. So I invited you, so you should be able to accept it. There you are. And when you want to, just dive in and comment or ask a question or whatever. We're here to, help everyone with whatever they need in our world here. How are you? Go ahead and unmute Banadesh if you want to, and just you could ask away.
I've got some millionaire statistics pulled up if you want me to cure this dead air.
Yeah, go for it. Please share with us some stuff here. What
are your odds of becoming a millionaire? Is this article that I pulled up. Here's some interesting statistics, most of which I was very surprised about. Percentage of people who are millionaires in this country is 1 in 32. That's 3%. I thought that was a little high, quite honestly. I thought it was less people. Then they break it down by age. The percentage of people that are older than 62 who are millionaires. That's 1 in 7. And it's largely because, in my opinion, that's 12% of the people who are older than 62 in this country are millionaires, largely because they're old enough to have their primary residence, they're aged. And so, if you live in a house for 30 or 40 years that you paid $300,000 for, it's going to be worth $1 million. And guess what? You're a millionaire.
Right.
Younger than 40. For the same reason, the number is a lot lower. 1 in 55. So that's 1.7% of the people. Then, this is my favorite part, education. High school education, 1 in 23 people are a millionaire, which is 4.2%. Joe falls in that category. College degree, 1 in 6, 13%. Postgraduate degree, which means a master's degree or a PhD, 1 in 32, 1 in 3 people, 33% of the people who have a graduate degree or higher. That's staggering to me. That this is so surprising. I didn't think it would be that different, but that's the reason that the podcast that Jill and I did is education matters. And I'm not saying go run out and get a PhD and spend the next 8 years of your life or not 10 years of your life doing that. I'm just saying whatever makes sense to you from an education standpoint, don't hesitate. More education is always better. Here's a few more. How many millionaires ... have inherited the money? 8 out of 10. So 80% of the people who are millionaires inherited the money. Well, good for them. That's not the people here. How many are currently working? 40%, 4 in 10. That's us. How many millionaires say they're wealthy due to hard work? 9 in 10. 95%, 9.5 out of 10 say that it's all about hard work.
I believe
even though
that.
80% of them inherited it.
It's kind of funny.
Here's a real surprising statistic. The odds of running a successful startup are 1 in 200. That's half of 1%. Startups, which is not what Land Academy or any of this stuff is,
Right.
are all against the odds. Those are, that's like becoming a player in the NBA, which is a lot less than that, but still, it's a staggering percentage.
Exactly.
Here's a shot. The chance of reaching the poverty level over a 10-year period for anyone is 44%. 4 in 10 people. Mm-hmm. What I read into this is shocking to me. What I read into this is that you got to take action. You have to do something proactively, or it's the odds are almost in your favor to not be successful.
Right.
Percentage of people who believe that most people can make it if they're working really hard, 6 in 10. This is a good, healthy, I would have guessed this. About 60% believe that hard work is going to yield some type of benefit.
Mm-hmm. I believe
Percentage
in
of
that.
people
This is hard work.
That's right. The percentage of people who believe that they will become a millionaire over their lifetime, 3 in 10 or 30%.
Right.
And I think that's really healthy too.
I totally agree with all this. You know what's interesting? This is hard work to a point. You know what? You get to a point in your land investing career where it doesn't have to be hard work. I'm just thinking about this. Like, we've got it down to, and I know a lot of people that do in Land Academy have it down to a few hours a week. It's awesome. So, and we can get you there. I promise.
I think that the whole point to this is breaking down what your goals want to be. So when you say making $1 million a year, that's not what this is about. It's about just being a millionaire, but making $1 million a year is way more money than it sounds. That's like 100 and something $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. If you can't live,
can't live on that.
This is not a sales pitch here. This is not a sales pitch in any stretch.
You should be in a different room.
$100,000 a month is after tax is enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it grossly exceeds what I ever thought I would make ever.
Isn't that sweet? I have to share this. This is so cool because I remember way back when getting into this, and we first released our very first education program back in 2015. It was Land Academy, Cash Flow from Life. How much was it a month? Was it 5 or 25,000? I can't remember what the number was a month that we thought we could show you how to do that really easily, right? Which we did. And I remember thinking that that's a bit of money, like even $25,000 a month, that's a lot. 10,000. It was 10,000. That's it. I remember it was $10,000 a month for life. And I went,
right.
Yeah, okay. I can show people how to do $10,000 a month. That's which we do now, on which, that's, and a lot of people in this room are making more than $10,000 a month. I know you are. So, but at the time I'm like, wow. And then it keeps, and you can live, if you can't live on $10,000 a month, that's another thing too. I can easily live on $10,000 a month. Probably I could live on 5. So, and be very, very happy.
Exactly.
But, so it's just interesting. What are your goals? What do you want to do? There's no wrong answer. It's so amazing to me that we have these wildly successful people in Land Academy, and and success is whatever you want it to be. Do you want to be making $1 million a month? Go for it. Some people are like, nope, I don't want to work that hard. I'm doing one deal a month, and I'm going to make sure that one deal nets a minimum of $50,000, and I'm out. And that's all I want to do because I have a family, I have little kids.
Jill and I have a community on Discord. And so we're all in there constantly for Land Academy members. So we're all in there constantly talking to each other and helping each other with anything, including like funny stuff that's happened to us. And last week a show aired with a guy named Brandon, he's in our career path group as a guest because he's there to almost as a teaching assistant / he's just a good, funny guy, down to the earth kind of guy. And so we interviewed him on our podcast, which aired last week. And it exploded in Discord with compliments because he's so down to earth that he's explained in great detail why he made $500,000 last year working a couple hours a week because he's got 2 little kids and they just built a house and the whole thing, and why he's on track to double it this year. And so that's my whole point with all these statistics and all this stuff. There's so much pie in the sky, disorganized. Oh, I just want to be rich. The internet's packed full of people standing in front of a jet. That's not what this is about.
Right.
It's just about setting a realistic goal and getting in a peer group and using the right tools to get where you want to be financially, realistically.
Right.
No one's going to be a billionaire in our group. No one. That's just buying and selling land is not that type of business. We're not going to take anything public. It's not a pie in the sky scenario, but geez, you sure can live off of it. And Jill and I included, there's a lot of people on Discord in our group every day talking about that.
Exactly. So what questions do you have? Everyone, bring it. Raise your hand. Come on up. We'd love to talk to you about any questions you have. So, and if you're just tuning in and learning who we are pros at finding and buying really inexpensive land where we can easily mark it up. A typical percentage is doubling our money and getting out quick. That's kind of in a nutshell what we do. And we buy it and sell it all over the country. We are data nuts. We use data to make sure we do it right. We don't make mistakes. We buy it right. We pick great areas. We don't mess around. And it's pretty much sold online or, depending on the deal, it's still going to be promoted online, but we bring in great land focused brokers and agents. When I went from doing it 100% ourselves, Stephen and I, getting the pictures and posting the property and writing the description and that kind of a thing too. Now I'm too busy and I'm doing too many deals. I don't have time to write descriptions, and I have enough profit baked into it. I can afford to pay someone a commission. So, and some of the deals that we're doing too are large. Most of the deals that we're doing are larger dollar amounts. So it makes sense to bring in an agent who is, in those areas and already has a buyer's list. And it just goes so quick and so fast. Typical numbers for us are kind of like buy for 30,000, sell for, 80,000. Those are real easy numbers to accomplish. You'd be surprised. It ties into what you just talked about, Jack. Look how many people on the planet are walking around with a lot of cash. There's a lot. There's a lot of people.
Buy for 30, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I guess I just did. Buy for 30 and sell for 80 is a $50,000 profit.
Mm-hmm. Do one of those a month. If you do that
once a month, this is exactly what the talk with Brandon was, our Land Academy member. You do that once a month, you're going to net $600,000 a year.
And you do one deal a month.
An amazing living for once you get it all up and running. And it's going to take at least 12 months, maybe 18 months if you're super brand new. So you get it all up and running so you're super comfortable with it while you have a regular job. It's very realistic for the right personality type to make $500,000 or $600,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you say, well, I do 2 a month.
Sure. Then you, well, that's
now I'm at 1.2.
Our personality type is, if you can do that, if you can do 1 a month, then I can do 4 a month. Exactly.
Yep. Hey, MD, how are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Great.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Good. Quick question. I'm getting all set up. So this might be more appropriate for Discord. So let me know if it's beyond the scope of this conversation. But I'm kind of having a roadblock regarding seller financing and creating a note. And just basically what I'm getting so far is the title company can just do it. But I'm wondering, do I need to have an attorney? I can create the deed, but to create the actual note, is that something, how complicated is that? Or am I overthinking it? Do I need to hire an attorney to create it? Sorry for, it's kind of a discombobulated question, but the process of seller financing and creating a note is kind of creating a roadblock for me right now on a couple
No, it's
two
not.
different
It's
things.
Totally appropriate question. It's a great question, and I'll try to break it down. Unless you want to do this, Joe, but I'll do it. There's two types. First of all, states have statutes about selling land on, depending on where you are in the country, it's called a note, which is out west here. If you're from back east, it's called a land contract. And there's two basic ways you can do this according to state statutes. And I would seriously encourage you to research these state statutes. They're not that complicated. The first way is quite simply to sell a piece of property with a purchase agreement, and attached to that purchase agreement is a contract that you both sign. You're the seller, the buyer is the buyer, and it's as simple as it sounds. You create the terms. You're going to pay me $200 down and $200 a month. Here's the procedure to pay it, and when it's paid off, I'm going to deed you the property. But until then, it's going to stay in my name.
That would be the land contract way of doing it.
That's a land contract or a note, correct?
And then when you're typically doing it, do you usually just use, like, pull up an amortization schedule for the agreement part that you were talking about, and you're going to pay me X amount a month, and just according to this amortization schedule until paid off, or 10 years, or whatever the agreement is?
That's exactly it. Whatever interest rate you choose. As I understand it, you have to have an interest rate. A lot of people don't comply with that. They just say, look, I'm not going to charge you any interest. You're going to pay me $200 a month. And after 18 months or 180 months or whatever it is, it's paid off and I deed you the property.
So it's just basically the sales contract that I have, and then a separate, like, very simple agreement. Hey, this is how much is owed. This is how much you're going to pay me a month. And if you don't pay me, this is what happens, kind of.
Yes, exactly. You just made my next point very clearly. You have to, in the event of default, this is what you can expect to happen.
Okay. And
there's a second way.
Okay, I'm listening.
The second way is, in Arizona, it's called a deed of trust. And that's how houses are sold. And this is all statutory. So you would do the same thing. You find somebody to buy your property, you negotiate the terms, and then it gets recorded. Usually I've done it in the past with a title company, a knowledgeable title company, where all what I just said and what you agreed on is all recorded at the county level. And so the payments usually get made, and they usually get made to a note servicing company. In the past, we've used, I can't remember. I remember the name of it.
Not Evergreen?
Evergreen, yes. Thank you, Joe. Mm-hmm. Evergreen. For the record, Jill and I stopped doing payments for a long, which I'll explain why in a minute, but it's fine. It's great that you're getting into it this way. There's a lot of benefits to doing it the second way. It can keep you out of trouble for a lot of reasons, but I'll tell you, in the event of a default, you have to go through a formal foreclosure procedure, and it can cost between $1,500 to $3,000 a month. So it's tough to undo. Very, very tough. But it totally keeps you in compliance with the whole thing. So there's two different ways to do it. I would very seriously encourage you to not just only take the advice that I'm giving you here. I would talk to a lawyer about it. They're probably going to scare the hell out of you, but take it with a grain of salt. But that's the basic, overview of selling on terms.
Okay, but I mean, it's pretty simple to do. It's not something I don't want to really be in the business of seller financing things as a business practice, but it just so happens that this is the way it's going. But basically, pay a lawyer or draw up the contract, pay a lawyer, and I'm like I thought. I'm overcomplicating it. But hey, awesome! Thanks, Steve, for the info, and love you guys and keep it up.
Thanks, MD.
Awesome. You're welcome. Thanks for the compliment.
If you think this is the way things are going because you think it's your only option, it's not. Don't forget about companies like Rural First. It's rural and then onest.com. That's what I do. When I have people nowadays they're like, I really want this. I can't afford it. If they're a regular bank won't do it, and I'll tell you now and now more and more banks like Wells Fargo, I see them funding land only deals that they're buying from us. But I send them to Rural First and they can get financing there because that's not my business. I don't want to be in that business for a couple of reasons, all the things that we're talking about here. And don't even get me started about the end of year reporting for interest rates. And that just came up the other day on our advanced member call. Like, what do I need to do? I'm like, this is one of the reasons we don't do this stuff. They're technically our legal things you need to do tax-wise for these people. I don't want to get involved in that. But if you use a service like Evergreen or something, they will do that. But now it's a cost also.
I mean, that's exactly why you guys are kind of my selected tribe, so to speak, because I agree with you all the time. Like, simpler is better for me. I don't want to get involved in thinking too much and filling out paperwork with my life. But okay, royalfirst.com and
Rural, R-U-R-A-L, rural, and then one S-T, ruralfirst.com.
Rural First.
Awesome company for getting funding on vacant land deals for people. And then the other thing I was going to say is that the reason I want to cash out too is I can do so much more with that profit tomorrow than $200 a month. It's going to take me a long time to build up and turn that money into something else versus I could have $25,000 in my bank account in 2 weeks when we close.
Jill, I'm going to interject here for a second. Michael and Kathy Alon, I know you're on the call here, and if you're not focused on something else, because they came up with this exact scenario. If you guys can move yourselves up, that'd be great, and tell your story that's in Discord. Otherwise, I will. They have bought a piece of property for $7,000, and the question awesome. Michael, can you tell your story? Or Catherine?
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, our story is at the moment we have a piece of property that we originally advertised for about $49,000, which was pretty high from our realtor. So we knocked it down to about 36, and then it's been on the market for about a month, and we seem to have. He told us we've got an offer coming in for about $35,000, but with some contingencies. We still don't know what the contingencies are yet. But at the same time, somebody else went out, looked at the property, and they said, "Oh wow, this is great! I love it, but I really want payments, and that's the only way I can do it. And I can give you $5,000 down and pay you $1,000 a month." And we're like, okay, well, we think about it. Actually, that offer came in first, and the cash offer came in like the next day. So we just immediately we're like, oh, well, we want the cash, but there are some contingencies. Well, we told that the owner financing offer says, hey, we got another offer. We're probably going to go with that one. I'm sorry, but we'll keep you in mind if something else happens, whatever. Well, he came back to us and said, how about if I raise it to $45,000? We're like, well, thanks anyways, but we're going to go to 35. And then he says, how about if I do 50,000? And I think his latest offer now is 60,000. Pay 5,000 down, $1,000 per month, something like that. So now we're at we're like $35,000 or $60,000. 35 now or 60 later, and Jack has recommended that we go to 35 for the velocity factor. As Jill indicated, for the velocity factor, 35,000 today. What can I do how can I turn that money, 2 or 3 more times this year to make, $100,000 versus waiting for that $1,000 a month for the next 5 years or however it is. Yeah, 5 years, let's call it. So we'll probably do that. We'll probably go with the cash offer, because we do want that velocity. We do want that simplicity. But we'll have to wait and see if it actually sticks.
What'd you pay for it?
This property, we got a real bargain. I think we're all in it for about $7,000. Now, it's not that great of a property per se, but because it's on an unimproved road, but it does have no restrictions, and that's the main attraction of it. So the guy who wants it really bad, it's really good for him because it brings him closer towards his kids, which are from from his initial marriage. He now lives like 3 hours away. He wants to move closer to his kids. He's going to build a little cabin out there. He's got all the generators, and apparently he's fine with that type of lifestyle, or he's going to live in an RV, something like that, maybe just during the summer. And so we got it for a really low price.
I love this.
By the way,
$7,000, you got a little bidding more going here. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, if you take the cash offer, you're going to have 5 times your money.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with all of us and MD. So that's the thing you have to think about.
Yeah.
And like it's so funny, Michael, you just said too, like, okay, this came in and then the very next day, here comes a cash offer. If you hang out a little bit, sometimes, like I've had so many people said, oh gosh, if I just waited 1 week, here came this guy.
Well, that's really interesting you said that, Jill, because back when it was advertised for $49, we did get an owner financing offer at $35, and we took it. And then that buyer, he backed out, or he had either his attorney look at it or something, and they wanted something, and I don't know what it was, maybe a survey, or I don't know. They were just being a big pain in the neck, and we just said, you know what, I'm sorry, thank you anyways, no deal.
Yeah, I mean, these sellers need to either show up with the money or not. Either way is fine.
Yeah.
But not in between, which is what I think terms financing is. I want it, but I don't have the money. There's a lot of stuff in the world that I want that I don't have the money for, and I don't make terms offers on it.
Yeah. And, simplicity is key. And, I'll mention this again on this call here. Jack's got this thing called, what's it? Searching for zero?
Chasing
zero.
Chasing zero. Love that phrase. It's about outsourcing what you can and minimizing your decision making, and just stop complicating your life. So there's a lot to that phrase and to this business.
Good story, Michael. There's all over the internet. There's all this times 10 movement I've noticed, and Michael's in a very intelligent way timesing 5 in a real world example of, and so this is it's reality. And I love this story.
Yeah, and this land, like I said, it seems to be desirable because of its because it doesn't have restrictions. But when we first looked at it, we almost passed it by because it does look a little ugly, and it's tough to get back there. And the realtor's telling us that with the current rain that's been there, the ruts are really high. There's no taking a 2-wheel drive car back there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Congrats. You're going to get a check soon.
It's not done yet, but we'll see.
That's awesome. So MD and Anthony, by the way, you both are on my radar. Anthony, you've been on my radar for Career Path. How are you, Anthony? We were talking about you today and sharing some of your stuff. You're going to see it on Wednesday. I'm hitting Anthony Taft here. If you can unmute, if you want to unmute and chat with us, we'd love to talk to you. You wrote some books in Discord. Wasn't it? It was Anthony Taft, right, Jack, that you were sharing with us today?
Extremely helpful. Anthony Taft wrote several unsolicited entries in Discord about, hey, I've been doing this for a while, and
yeah, we got you.
Oh, great. Glad to talk to you guys. I just wanted to chime in a little bit on the terms deals, because I've done terms deals for a while, and like you, I've moved on. So with terms deals, there are 2 things that just really kind of get to you. The first thing is that you should never go to the recorder with the land contract, because it's just going to be huge hassles to get that undone when the person eventually defaults on the contract.
When they default, not if, when.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is it that prevalent, the default?
Yes.
80%.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and The other thing I would say is that the higher your down payment as a percentage of what you're asking for the property, the higher you can get that down payment as a percentage, the less likely they are to default. So if you could get it up to, say half, you're probably not going to default on that.
Half's good. Mm-hmm. When you do default, then you feel bad. It's like, I collected all this money. The person this is really what happens with the term sales, in my opinion. We collected all this money. We checked you all out. Everything's great. You put half down. You made 2 payments, and we never heard from you again. It's like, I have an ethical issue with that as a seller. I know some people make this a business model, but I don't think that's okay.
I try to help them out. They're trying to hide from me, think I'm going after them, and I'm like, I want to help you. Don't you still want this? Let's work this out. And I often, when I get them, after a while too, I'll cut them deals. I get so tired of terms at the end. I'm like, hey, how about this much money? We'll call it done, kind of thing.
I have a confession.
Tell me.
We did a deal, terms deal. We got 20% down. I thought that was the magic number. You paid 2 payments, and I've been chasing them ever since. And now I'm like, forget it.
See, I'm not making this stuff up. That's just what happens.
I like the 50% model, and I'm probably going to move to either 30, 40, or 50%. And but I was like, really? I mean, I got all my money back out of the deal. Mm-hmm.
Michael, did you do a land contract, like scenario 1 or scenario 2 that Steve described earlier, when you had to take back the property, and how easy or hard was that?
Well, I haven't taken it back. Yeah, I haven't taken it back yet, and I did number 2. So now.
Okay, so you have to go through the actual foreclosure process.
Because I got them, one of the things about, if somebody's going to build on a property, they're going to need it to be like in their name, right? So you're going to have to record either a deed of trust or a mortgage on it. So if it's a land contract, you're not getting a construction. If it's a land contract and the property's not in your name, you're not getting any type of a construction loan on it. Right?
Gotcha. That's the difference.
Right. So this person, I think he indicated he was going to do that, and plus the attorney in this liberal state, this was Maine, was saying, yeah, you could do it a land contract, but probably wouldn't stick anyway. You'd still have to go through a foreclosure process.
What about the doing it as a land contract? And if you're selling it to a builder or whoever, can't they take you out of your loan with a construction loan? Or I guess I'm getting away from the keep it simple.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, keep it simple. Yeah. There's a way out of that for sure, but at this point, I've called him. I said, look, I'll give you all your money back. I'll give you all your money. Just give me the land back. Just let's just bring back to the attorney. This isn't right for you. I see you're having trouble with the payments. Look, I'll do you a favor. I'll give you all your money back. And he's been telling us, oh, no, I want to make this right. I'm going to have this cleaned up for you by this time, by today. Okay, he said that. He's not going to do it. I doubt he thought.
So this is not
the foreclose on him.
This is not the business we're in. We are not in the business of creating notes and servicing them and doing contracts. We're in the business of finding land that's inexpensive and buying it and selling it for more. You should put that on a sticky note and stick it on your computer monitor. That's what we're in. And people, as long as time will go on, and as long as you post property on the internet through a realtor or not, they're going to make unsolicited terms offers, and they're going to be tantalizing, like Michael's describing. I can get $60,000 here, or I can get $30,000, $60,000 in 5 years with almost all the money down that I paid for the property, or I can take the $35,000. So here's my recommendation. Not so much to Michael because he's already a lost cause, but to you, MD, I would make up your mind now if you're going to be a term seller or not. And if you are, make it count. Put all your people in place, get a lawyer, call the note servicing company, get your contracts lined up, and get in that business. There's some people on Discord in Land Academy have like 900 notes being serviced.
Yeah, they have a full customer service team, so you're going to need to do that too.
I'm in the business of buying land and selling it for more.
So there you go.
Other stuff too.
All right,
I don't want to
Andy.
count beans.
If you're in a side hustle like this is, I would say you got to keep it simple and just go for the cash. Once you get it, if your whole life and you got a team, there's definitely profit into it.
Anthony Taft, do you have any positive stories about term sales?
I've had a few people that have gone the distance on the term sales, but like you, probably 50-60% of them have ended in default. I still have, 5 or 6 contracts, but that are paying. Fingers crossed. But I'm more on the cash model now, just like you guys.
Yeah.
These deals that are getting defaulted on, are these like, I'm assuming like the bread and butter $50,000-$60,000 deals?
Oh, no, much less. I've had a history of doing tax deed and tax lien sales. So I've got stuff that I'm selling for between 10 and 20, and that's basically what's left.
I've had some that have succeeded as well. And it's only the problem properties, or not the problem properties, but properties that aren't that great that you ultimately sacrifice and say, okay, I'll accept a terms deal on it, that can often lead into a bad situation.
Yeah, the other thing is a lot of these properties in markets that aren't so hot right now. So one of the ways that you can get a sale in a market that's not too hot is to offer terms on a deal.
Yeah, and we're in the hottest market there ever was. So that's another reason I wouldn't take this deal, Michael and MD. I would say just no. I would say nope. We don't sell on terms.
Yep.
Just wait a week and you'll get another offer for cash.
Ding ding. I love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Look how much time MD already has into this. I mean, you probably have days into, I hate to say weeks, I hope it's not weeks, but it might be, days into researching how to do this and do it right and keep yourself out of trouble versus I'm just a fan of, hey, there's great companies out there. If you need one, call this one and call me when it's all worked out. And it works just fine.
I'm super coachable.
Really,
I agree with you guys totally.
Mm-hmm.
Jill loves decisive men until it comes to me. And when I'm real decisive, then she doesn't like it.
Oh, that's totally true. That's awesome. Yeah, no.
You're bossy. That's what she says, stuff like that all day.
Yeah, exactly. That's very true. I have to tell you in the evenings, okay, take that hat off, please. That's not what I need right now. That's great. This is an awesome discussion. Anyone in here that, bring it, you want to chime in or you want to ask something about, anything that we're talking about with land and flipping and how we're finding these deals or, whatever's going on in our world, we'd love to talk to you. So just raise your hand and I'll get you on up here and we can chat.
Well, I have some questions in the meantime for Anthony because we don't get to talk to him usually. I'm so glad you're on the call. What are you working on now? Because I know you went through, when you joined the group, you're a big fan of foreclosing on tax liens, a lot of them in Arizona, which is kind of where we buy and sell a lot of property too. So how's that all worked out and what have you moved on to, if anything?
So I'm still doing both. I just sent a mailer today for Mount Lemmon outside of Tucson. And Pima County is doing pretty well for me. I'm getting ready for the Yavapai County tax deed sale. They haven't had a sale in 4 years, and a lot of the properties I had my eyes on to foreclose on ended up going on their list. So they're going to put their list out here in the next few days, and I'm looking at probably 300 or 400 properties. A lot of cool stuff near Black Canyon City, Mare, Spring Lakes, Lake Montezuma, Verdi, that whole area there. So that's what I'm looking at right now.
Awesome. Yeah, Jill and I own a ton of property up there. Not a ton, several pieces of property, and we always do well in Yavapai County.
I get excited by those. I agree.
My first deal was Yavapai. And it was a property that I wish I kept because from a very high satellite view, I could pinpoint it. It was so unique that I could see it. That was that unique. And it was like a perfect little camping spot. So that's my little entry into the business. Bought it for $800, sold it for $2,500.
There you go. 800's cheap anywhere in Yavapai.
Yeah.
So on this sale that's coming up, I don't want to invite competition, but if you guys are looking for something good in Yavapai County, there's a bunch of house lots in Spring Lake and Mare that are probably going to start at about 2,300, end up selling for the range of 7 to 10, and the market there for house lots is between 25 and 35. So if you're looking to get something quick right away, that might be an option for you.
Is it online or is it in person?
Yeah, it's going to be online. It's going to be on publicsurplusauction.com, I think it is,
awesome.
or publicsurplus.com. Yeah.
I think it's fun to go to those once in a while. I kind of wish it was in person. I was going to say, hey, Anthony, let's ride up together.
That's what I was going to say. It's the exact same thing because it keeps all the riffraff out. Like if you have to go in person, it's so much more difficult and it's so much more to your advantage if you're serious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you want to do something this summer, Montana has their tax lien sales, and the process in Montana for land is exactly the same as the process in Arizona, but Montana had a change to their law that you can't get land with houses through the tax lien process anymore, but you can still get raw land, and that's kind of driven a lot of people away. But Montana has their auctions every year. I think it's on the same weekend in July. So if you wanted to go up to Yellowstone County or Silver Bow County or any of the other nice places in Montana and bid on some land, sure.
If you were to buy some of this Yavapai County land, what's the redemption period on that? Yep.
Well, it's a deed sale.
So it's a deed sale, yeah.
Oh, it's a deed sale, so it's final.
It's final.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then if you want title insurance, we all know where to go to get that.
Yeah, so when you have the treasurer's deed, you definitely have to get title insurance if you're going to be selling to anybody who's going to get any kind of financing for the property,
right?
Which is probably a third of the time. But when you're dealing with rural vacant land, a lot of times people aren't looking to build for a while, so you just sell them straight and then have them worry about getting the title insurance later.
Exactly.
I built our whole company on what you're describing right now. This is before Jill and I joined forces, all through the 90s. This is before auctions were on the internet, county auctions anyway. So I'd travel around all over the place buying liens and mostly deeds and just flipping them back out on the internet, dressing them all up and flipping them out on the internet. And it worked out.
Are you guys still doing that, Anthony, Steve, and Jill, actively now? Or buying, or is it the profits have become contracted because of so many people bidding?
I'll answer first. Anthony's way more into it now than I ever was, but no, we're not, because we've moved on to buying much higher quality, more profitable properties, but a lot fewer of them.
Oh, yeah. So I'm still have a foot in both worlds. The thing about the tax lien and the tax deed is it's a lot of time researching spreadsheets. Sometimes your eyes will bulge out. And so if you wanted to go that route, you get some help with it. The other thing is your profit per deal. You're going to get these properties for pennies on the dollar, much less than you would get them for if you were sending a mailer. But you're not going to find properties where you could buy for $25 and sell for $125. You'll find properties where you could get them for $2,000 and maybe sell them for $10, $15, $20. That's where the bread and butter is in the tax lien and tax deed on the land. So with the mailer, you're probably going to make more money. And it's one of the things I need to spend more time on the mailer. But with like the tax lien stuff, I've already got cases going and everything. So it kind of pulls me back in. So it's one of the things I need to spend more time on the mailers.
To this day, I'll peruse. There's certain tax auctions that they still hold in person, and to this day, Jill and I will make a thing out of it and go, and we'll always buy something, and we'll always regret it later. And it's the two. I can't shake it like a drug habit.
It is easy to get sucked in. It is kind of a fun road trip. I do look forward to it. So when you're like Montana, I'm like, well, let's see, when is that? It's just fun. It's just fun to go and do that kind of stuff.
It's a byproduct of just loving land. I mean, who doesn't want to buy 40 acres for $3,000?
Exactly.
You just have to do it.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
And you end up selling it for 4 or 5 and you regret it.
Mm-hmm. It's fun sitting in the back of the room and watching people get what they want, and then they leave, and then at the end there's like 3 of you or 2 of you, and then that's it. And you just scoop up all the stuff that's left over. You're like, well, why not? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had one tax lien sale in Klamath County in Oregon, and it was on a Monday morning, and I drove in on a Sunday night, and this was in January, but everything was pretty clear on the ground. And there was a big snowstorm that Sunday night, and luckily my hotel was within walking distance of the city. The city room where they were having the auction, and I was able to walk to the auction, but a lot of other people there weren't, and there was maybe me and 2 other guys there at that auction, so I was able to pick up quite a few properties.
I have a real similar story. Same thing a lot of years ago.
Wouldn't have happened if it was online, though. I could tell you that.
Mm-hmm. My story ended with there were 2 people at the auction, me and this rancher. And I was shocked that they held the auction, but I guess they got there a day earlier too. And we just looked at each other. We never spoke a word. And I bought one and he bought one. We went every other person. We didn't never bid against each other. They were all minimum bids. I think I made $200,000 or $300,000 at that auction. And at the end of it, an hour and a half, everything was sold out. He got half, I got half. And we just gave each other another look. And it was a beautiful auction situation.
Yeah.
But it's like,
in Arizona,
the story is like, it's like people who gamble a lot will tell you a story like that, but they never talk about every time, the 50 other times that they lost.
Yeah, that was an unusual auction. In Arizona, Yuma County and La Paz County still hold their tax lien auctions in person. So I think Santa Cruz County does also, but I haven't seen much of Santa Cruz I would want to go after.
Yeah, same with the Yuma for me.
So Yuma is growing, and that area, San Luis, the market there is pretty good. Their days on market is under 30, if you want to take a look at it. Kind of surprised me.
The property that I purchased there is out by Dateland. I'm sure you're familiar with that. Large acre properties.
Oh, yeah.
And
definitely.
we've done well on those. If they're close to the freeway, you can do pretty well on those, but you don't see them too much anymore.
Yeah, I just took a large acre property in Antelope Valley. Mm-hmm. It's right before or past Dateland. Anyway, it was done. It was owned by one of the large cattle companies there, and it's basically a huge, not huge, but I don't know, it's probably 30 lots, and there was 11 lots left. And they hadn't, when they wanted to sell a lot, they would go to the county and they would just do a small division. And these 11 lots are just on their own. And I'm looking to sell those, but they're in Antelope Valley. So,
Anthony, I'd love to have you on our podcast. Would you be up for that and share some stories? Because I've got a bunch of stories, and I'm sure you do too.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll send me a message on Discord and we can discuss times.
Excellent. That'd be fun.
Don't worry. Brenda and Gabriel are right here writing that down. So awesome.
Sure.
Super cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to be spending the summer in Arizona and I'm kind of dreading it.
Yeah, you should be. Montana in the summer going to an auction in Montana in the summer sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I've got one guy who wants to sell me some property up on Mount Lemmon, but he wanted a little bit more than what I was going to wanted to pay, but it's still a really good deal, so I might take him up on that.
Joe, you're familiar with that area. It's down by Tucson, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. The only bad thing about Mount Lemmon is that the Wi-Fi service there isn't that good, and the not the Wi-Fi, but the cell service isn't that good.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Hey, Bill, how are you? Welcome.
I am doing okay. How are you? Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Good. Thank you.
Can
What's
everyone
going
hear me
on?
okay? I am a newbie at this. I started
Cool.
aggressively sending mail in January.
Ooh, good for you.
My first 2 deals came in. The first one was buy for 47 and sell for 130. That one is and it's in. I'm using a money partner on that one, and that one is in title and it's moving right along.
I love it. Sounds like you just walked into a casino and hit the right machine, so be careful. That's awesome.
So that's
Keep
great
going.
news. Can't buy this kind of publicity.
My second deal, and again, I'm a newbie here, was a 20-acre desert square that I picked up for a little bit over $2,000. I scheduled my notary. I did all my documentation. I filled out all my paperwork. I sent everything out to the notary. She got in touch with my seller. They set up the date to close. And the morning they were going to close, the seller changes her mind and says, I don't want to do this anymore. My executives are telling me not to do it. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah. So
we're
what
all
happened?
just speechless.
So in my document, under my cancellation policy, it states that if this contract, whichever party cancels is responsible for the closing fees involved in the closing, which including 199 doc fee is about $550. So I've sent her and I also sent her, I tried to call her 3 times. I sent her a very nice letter today, registered return receipt requested, just so that I know, letting her know, number 1, we'd like to work it out. But number 2, if we can't, please refer to line. And I sent her a copy of the signed agreement, stating that line number 7 clearly states that, per our mutually signed contract, that I'm due these fees. And my question is, number 1, maybe she's going to pay. But number 2, if she doesn't, would you put a cloud on the title? It's in Pershing County.
I personally wouldn't.
I would leave it alone.
I know people that do that. I know people
Somebody will buy it next week.
Yeah, I just move on.
But I don't know. She's not selling it to me.
I know.
She's backing out on the deal.
Have you asked her what she wants now? Is it because she obviously wants to sell?
She's not taking my phone call. I've called her 3 times, and I've been very gentle and very subtle. And hey, this is Bill. I got a call from, from our mobile notary, and she says you're having second thoughts here. I just thought we could chat and, see if there's something I can help you with, So since she didn't answer the phone, I just went ahead and sent a letter, and I just, I did the return receipt only because I wanted verification that she was going to receive it, but I'm at about $400 between the because I ordered a title search and I ordered some documents from deeds.com, and it was a really good experiment of preparing all those documents. I found it quite educational, and I learned a lot. Not that I would want to do it all the time. But I'm glad that I did it because, everything I've heard in this business says never pass it off to anyone until you've walked a mile in their moccasins, and then some people say it differently. Make sure you understand how to do it before you pass it on. And, but anyway, I just thought I'm really excited about the other one, so hopefully that won't fall apart in title, but I have that title search also, and it looks pretty good. So,
well, it sounds like you're making more than the $400 this one costs on the other one, so I think we're okay there.
Yeah, and if it sells in less than 90 days, I think it's a 65-35 split, 65 to me, 35 to the funder. So I think that's pretty favorable.
Yep.
Oh, that's a good thing. It's funny. I've never written that into ours. I should do that in ours.
I'd chalk it up to $400 worth of education and be done with it.
Okay.
I'd rather be that person. That's how I roll. I'd rather.
It was my first deal.
I know.
I'm like here I am. I'm all excited, and the comps are like 18 to 22,000.
Yeah.
All around it.
Well, you know what, Bill? If you hit that area, you probably have, there could be 3 more coming in this week, and you're going to be like, it's even better in the same area, better access. Who knows? I'm like, open the next envelope.
Oh, the access was wonderful. I mean, oh my God.
Yeah.
One of your ex-members owns a lot like 2, I'm not going to say which one, owns a lot like 2 lots away from it, and I'm like, and I was going to send him a message and say, hey, we're going to be neighbors, but it looks like we're not going to be neighbors. But
part of what we were discussing earlier about a simple process is also simple thinking. Stop burdening your mind with this stuff about, who's going to pay the $200, $300 when you're making $50,000 on the deal before that. Just relieve yourself of that burden and move on to either sending out more mail or finding the next deal. And that's so important, I think, for people who are trying to do this as a side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going more than side hustle. I'm like, I'm a semi-retired jeweler that's got plenty of time on his hands and looking to fund my retirement.
Yeah.
Somebody told me a long time ago the best way to get over a girl is to get another one. That's the same thing with these real estate deals. Just get another one and it'll distract you and you'll forget all about
it. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. Shoot chip a few more balls on the golf course. Now
there you go. I haven't done that in a while.
Exactly.
Rather than wasting your time on phone calls trying to get a little $400 or $500 back that you never going to get.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Usually I just listen in and I don't even chime in, but this time I thought, well, I have something to share, so maybe somebody else will learn something from it also.
Thank you very much. We've got a few more minutes, so I want to say hey to Chip.
Thank you.
Hey,
you guys. Thanks. Hey, how are you? Thank you, Bill.
Good.
Thank you.
I was going to jump in when Bill made that comment because I had a similar scenario like that, and you just have to walk and move to the next one, and the deal's got to be a win-win for everybody. You don't want to drag somebody to the closing. I literally lost out on $500,000+ where I released the contract because it wasn't a win-win. When a super realtor came in and told them that, they were getting ripped off supposedly. And I genuinely made a pricing error and was very low on my offer price by mistake. And it got accepted and we were running to the bank. And basically super realtor came in and told them that they were, getting taken advantage of. And he had somebody to buy it for, $3.3 million tomorrow. And of course that came and went and fizzled out, and basically, long story short, is they ended up firing the realtor and calling me back to see if we could do a deal. And now we're trying to put together a deal where I'm involved. Not going to make $500,000, but still, it's going to be a handsome commission for having the relationship and for letting that contract go when I could have held their feet to the fire, dragging them, and it may have not turned out well. So I think you got to move to the next one. In a situation like that, everybody's going to be happy.
That's perfect. Thank you for sharing that. That's so great, Chip.
Real story.
So by Bill doing all the right thing and being that good person, whoever's in this sweet lady's ear, after 6 months, and if it doesn't produce like they say it's going to produce, they're going to call Bill back because Bill did everything right and Bill's a good person and he might still want to buy this.
And his few $100 in expenses, that's a cost to doing the business overall. In the big scheme of things when he's going to do more deals, so
exactly.
I wouldn't be too focused on chasing her down for that. Spend your time on looking at more deals or more data instead of hunting down $400 in that case.
Exactly. You're exactly right. It's important. And that's why, like, when I have people too, we're not on the same page price wise. I just always want to be that good person, leave the door open so they can come back. So that's perfect. Thank you, everyone. This has been an awesome hour that Jack and I got to spend with you again today. We're gonna stop it here because that gives us 1 hour to try to get a few. I got to get a few deal reviews done right now, and most of you I will see in another hour at 2:00 Pacific time when we have our weekly Land Academy closed private Zoom call. So, and if anybody's listening here and you're like, what the heck are you talking about? And you want to join in today, you sure can. Send a note to support@landacademy.com. You can have a one-time invite to come on into our closed room where we not only talk about these situations, but we look at them on screen. We look at deals. We weigh in on, yeah, I do the deal, or yeah, I don't know about that access, or, fill it in, the price wise, anything that's going on within our community. And we'd love to have you join us. So Jack, do you want to add something?
No, this is a great session. Thank you, everybody, for participating. I would love to hear your stories, as always.
Yeah. And we'll be back here in 2 weeks. So the first and third Thursday, 12 o'clock Pacific time every month. You can find us and chat with us here. So thank you, everyone. And quote Jack, have a great acquisitions week.
Thanks, Jill. Great show.
Thank you.